everybody, welcome back to Chuds BBQ. My name is Bradley Robinson, and today I'm going to show you how I made these beautiful, crunchy, crispy, Sichuan-y, delicious pork cracklin. Coming up! A few years back, a group of buddies and I headed down to New Orleans to have some fun and get into a little trouble on Bourbon Street. While I was down there, I obviously had to seek out the local barbecue scene, which landed us at Blue Oak Barbecue, which is not only the best barbecue in town, but some of the nicest dudes I've ever met. Their brisket, ribs, sausage, all top-notch, perfectly cooked. One thing on their menu that really stuck with me was their Sichuan rubbed pork cracklins. Hailing from the Northeast, pork cracklins was not a really big part of my diet, but the way they did it was super good, super crunchy. It was one of the best things I've ever eaten. So that's what we're going to try and recreate today, and it is going to be delicious. What I've got here is some skin on pork belly. If you can't find this at your local supermarket, I highly recommend checking out an Asian market or a Latino American grocery store or something along those lines. I got these at Fiesta here in Austin. Quite meaty too for pork belly. Little teat. I've had these in the freezer for a little bit just to make sure they're nice and firm, which will help in the cutting process. So basically what we want to do is just take a piece and cut it nice and thin into little chunky chunkies. You can really make these as big or as small as you like, but the skin on them is going to expand quite a bit, so you want to keep that in mind when you're choosing how big you want to make them. You could also do this with just some straight up pork skin, as long as there's a little bit of fat on there, maybe a little bit of meat. Then you get more into the chicharron territory. Nothing to it, just going through, cubing these up. Well, not really cubing, just kind of slicing through. Could have let these stay in the freezer a little bit longer to make this meat a little easier to cut through, but luckily this skin is pretty soft. This pork belly was selling for $2.99 a pound. Pretty cheap, so I got 2 pounds, $6. Pretty good deal for a nice crunchy little snack. And you can always go to your local butcher, ask them for some skin on belly. I'm sure they got some. Or at the very least, get yourself some pork skin. They're always trying to get rid of that stuff. Now that all this pork belly is chopped up, it's time to fire up the pit. B&B, call me. Shout out to Super Clean. Thanks for sending me some degreaser. I do appreciate it. I go through a whole bunch of cleaners while making these videos to try and keep these damn flies away. So, appreciate it. Thank you. Works great. Nice and clean. There's a snake in my boot. There's a snake in my boot. Hashtag boot snake. This smoker is rocking a solid 285, upwards of 300 degrees, which is just, oh, there's my tortilla press. Get that out of there. Yep. Ooh, toasty. Should I pre-smoke all of my tortilla presses? Probably not. We're gonna throw these little pork belly bites on here right in the middle. I got them on a rack for easy transportation. And we're just gonna cook these a little bit, get some color on them, get a little bit of smoke on them, start the fat rendering process. Shouldn't take more than an hour or so. Ooh. Once these pork belly bites come off of the smoker, we are going to crisp them up by frying them. And one of the best frying oils out there is lard, which is just rendered pork fat. It's available readily in every grocery store, but it's also super easy to make. Same process as making beef tallow like we did in the Chuck Burnt End video. Basically, I'm just going to send some of this pork fat that I picked up at the store today right through the grinder. That I remembered to plug in first. I'm just going to grind this right into this pot here. And there we have it, some beautifully ground up pork fat. Pot goes on to the burner. Cooking on high heat right now. It's been about 4 minutes. We're already starting to see some color. Basically trying to melt this down, cook off all the water, so all we're left with is pure pork fat. 10 minutes in, we're gonna kill the heat and let this carry over a bit, and that's what we're left with. It's some nice, crispy, fatty little bits of pork. These are actually pretty tasty themselves. Salt them up, put them on your popcorn or something. Definitely better than the beef counterpart. But once this cools down a little bit, we'll send it through a strainer, and we'll be left with some perfectly rendered lard. Beep. Beautiful. Back in the pot. After about 2 hours, hour and a half, these little pork bites are looking nice and smoky. As you can see, they picked up some color, but they're definitely not crispy yet, not overcooked by any means. Nice and smoky, nice and firm, very hot to the touch. You can see the fat starting to render out already, which is just gonna save us time in the long run and add some nice smoky flavor. So now, simply enough, into the oil they go. This oil is not hot yet. It's still warm from the rendering process, but we're gonna start these out really low and slow to just help the rendering process, help really draw moisture out of the skin. That way they puff up really well. Not much oil in here either. There's about ½ inch or so of lard in here, not too much, just enough to get them off the bottom, get the frying process started, because these are gonna leach out a lot of fat. Smoky fat, that is. Medium heat on. We're just gonna let these heat up, start bubbling, start cooking away. Ooh, it has been 17 minutes at this light little simmer here. Again, we're not trying to cook these too fast or too hot. If you cook too hot, you may burn one or two, and if you burn even the slightest amount, it's gonna put an off flavor into the entire batch. But these are coming along real nice. You can see them starting to, the skins here are starting to bubble up, which is a sign that you're in a good place. Oh yeah, there we go. So you're basically trying to take all the water out of the skin at a low temperature, then you want to crank it to a super high temperature. That's what's going to puff up and give you that chicharron style crunch. All right, it has been 25 minutes and these little bad boys are looking nice and crispy, so we're going to strain them right on out. Woo-hoo-hoo. Got that oil right up to about 400 degrees just to make sure that skin got nice and crisp. As you can see, the skin is nicely crisped. It'll be nice and crunchy, really hot right now. And while they're really hot, it's time to season them up. For our seasoning today, I'm going with the LeRoy Lewis Small Batch Sichuan Rub. This stuff is super tasty. Got a lot of cumin, garlic, ginger, some fennel, a lot of Szechuan peppercorns for that nice tingle, as well as some really good flavor. Right off the bat, you can smell those peppercorns. This is one of those rubs that goes really well on pretty much anything fried. Beautiful, crispy skin, nicely coated, rendered, crunchy. Let's hear how it sounds. Oh yeah, that's it. Ooh. Come on guys, y'all gotta give this a try. Cracklin-y. It's amazing how rendered out all this fat is. It's so crunchy. Does it compare to Blue Oak? No, just because it took me way more work to make these than it did just to pick them up from them. That rub though, y'all definitely need to try this rub. It's so good. All right, y'all, and that is it. That is my version of how to make Szechuan rubbed pork cracklins at home. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. It helps my self-esteem so much. But if you have any questions or comments, hit me up on Instagram at ChudsBBQ. Also, let me know if you try this recipe out for yourself. I love to see what y'all are cooking. Let me know in the comments below what you want to see me cook next. Head over to Blue Oak Barbecue if you are in the New Orleans or Louisiana area. I highly recommend it. Head over to LeRoyLewisBBQ.com to pick up some Sichuan rub for yourself. You will not be disappointed. Head over to ChudsBBQ.com for all pit inquiries, wait lists, pricing, and all that good stuff. Whew, that's a lot. I'll have links in the description down below for everything I use in this video and every other video. And until the next time I see you, please go cook something outside. Peace.